So you're standing in the grocery store, which feels like a completely normal thing to do, and you're looking at a carton of eggs. And you don't even pick it up. You just look at it. You do a little mental calculation in your head, the kind of math nobody taught you in school, but somehow you've become embarrassingly good at, and then you put it back. Not because you can't afford eggs, but because something about spending that much on eggs just feels wrong now. Like the world shifted slightly, and nobody told you the exact moment it happened. That feeling? That quiet, low-grade financial anxiety that follows you around like a shadow? That's what we're actually talking about today. My name is Robert, and I spend probably too much time thinking about money. Not just the numbers, but the psychology behind it, the cultural pressure around it, and why so many people who are doing everything right still feel like they're falling behind. I've talked to people making six figures who feel broke. I've talked to people living on modest incomes who feel completely at peace. And what I've found is that the real cost of a normal life in 2026 has almost nothing to do with your income. It has everything to do with what normal has quietly been redefined to mean, and most of us never got a vote on that. By the end of this, I want you to have a genuinely different relationship with the word normal, because once you see it clearly, some of these financial pressures just loosen a little. Let's start here, because this is the thing that nobody talks about directly. The definition of a normal, respectable, functioning adult life has expanded enormously, and the expansion happened gradually enough that most of us just accepted it without questioning it. Think about what normal looked like for your parents or grandparents at your age. One car, maybe, a small home, a few channels on television. Dinner out was an event. Vacations were occasional. And honestly, they weren't considered poor. They were just normal. Now fast forward to 2026. A normal life, as sold to us by basically every advertisement, social feed, and cultural signal we receive, includes a reliable car, ideally relatively new, a home of your own, subscriptions to multiple streaming platforms, a smartphone that costs more than a month's rent used to, gym membership, regular takeout because we're all exhausted, skincare routines that have somehow become financial commitments, a social life, travel at least once a year, and, retirement savings. Don't forget retirement savings. That's not a life. That's a portfolio. And here's the thing that genuinely bothers me when I sit with it. Nobody decided to want all of that. It just accumulated. One small convenience at a time, one subscription that seemed reasonable, one upgrade that felt justified, and now the baseline cost of existing like a normal person in 2026 is in many cities somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 a month for a single person. Before savings, before emergencies, before anything interesting happens. We have to talk about housing. I know, everyone talks about housing. But I don't think we talk about it in the right way. The conversation usually goes, housing is expensive, wages haven't kept up, it's really hard for young people, and all of that is true. But what I think we miss is the cascading effect of that one number being wrong. When housing costs consume 40, 50, sometimes 60% of someone's take-home pay, and this is real, this is happening to millions of people, it doesn't just leave less money for other things, it changes everything about how you live. It changes where you can afford to eat, it changes whether you can afford to get sick. It changes how much you can save, which changes your options later, which changes your entire life trajectory. One expensive number upstream turns into a completely different life downstream. I talked to a woman, she's 31, works in healthcare administration, makes about $58,000 a year, and she told me something that stuck with me. She said, "I'm not struggling, I just have no margin." And that's it. That's the sentence. No margin. Because every dollar has a job and there's no slack in the rope, so when something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong, you don't just have a bad month, you fall behind. And falling behind in 2026 has compounding interest on it. Here's a small one, but it matters more than people think. The subscription economy, which is basically the entire consumer landscape now, is specifically designed to exploit one psychological quirk. We are much worse at tracking recurring small costs than we are at big one-time purchases. If someone asked you to hand them $200 cash right now, you'd feel it, you'd think about it. But $17.99 a month? That disappears. And when you add up the $17.99 here, the $9.99 there, the $14.99 for the thing you signed up for during a free trial and never canceled, a lot of people are sitting on $300 to $500 a month in subscriptions they barely use and almost never audit. I'll be honest with you, I did my own audit last year and found a fitness app I'd been paying for since 2022. I opened it maybe 4 times. That's an expensive 4 sessions. The point isn't that subscriptions are evil. The point is that the system is designed for you not to notice. And in a world where every dollar has to work, invisible expenses are the ones that quietly hollow out your financial stability. The actionable thing here is almost embarrassingly simple. Once a year, go through every recurring charge on your bank statement and ask whether you'd consciously choose to buy that thing again today, not whether you might use it someday. Whether you'd buy it right now, the answer will surprise you. This is the one that I think deserves way more attention. There is a social cost to a normal life that is almost completely invisible in personal finance conversations, and it is genuinely significant. Weddings, bachelor parties, baby showers, group trips where someone books a villa and says it's only like $400 per person. Birthday dinners at restaurants where the bill is split evenly and you order the pasta and someone else ordered the lobster. These aren't luxuries you chose. These are the social fabric of adult life, and opting out of them has real relational consequences. I'm not being cynical about it. I actually love that people celebrate things. But the financial pressure of maintaining relationships in a world where celebration has become synonymous with spending is real, and most budgets don't account for it. Most people just absorb it. They charge it. They feel vaguely stressed. They don't connect the dots between their social life and their credit card balance at the end of the month. A reasonable, realistic annual budget for social obligations, gifts, events, travel for other people's milestones, for a person with an average-sized social circle is somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000 per year. That's money nobody puts in a spreadsheet, and yet it leaves every single year. Look, we have to name this directly. Social media in 2026 is a finely tuned machine for making you feel like your life is slightly inadequate. Not dramatically inadequate, that would be too obvious. Just slightly. Just enough to make you want to close the gap. And closing the gap costs money. It might look like a kitchen renovation you didn't really need, a car upgrade that doesn't make logical sense, clothes that feel necessary until they're in your closet and then feel like a mistake, experiences you documented more than you enjoyed. The psychological research on this is pretty clear. Relative comparison, measuring your life against what you see others doing, is one of the most powerful drivers of financial decision-making and one of the least acknowledged. We like to think we make rational financial choices. We mostly make emotional ones and then rationalize them later. The antidote isn't to delete all social media and live off the grid. It's to get really honest with yourself about what you actually want your life to feel like versus what you've been conditioned to want it to look like. Those are different things. They cost different amounts, and one of them is available to you right now, regardless of what the economy is doing. Here's the reframe I want to leave you with. A normal life, one with genuine comfort, meaningful relationships, stability, and enough space to breathe, does not have to cost what the market says it does. It costs significantly less once you separate your actual preferences from the preferences that have been quietly installed in you through advertising, social comparison, and cultural pressure. This isn't about deprivation, this is about clarity. The people I've seen navigate this era with the least financial stress are not the highest earners. They're the people who got very specific about what actually makes their life feel good, and then ruthlessly stopped spending money on everything else. They drive boring cars, they cook most of their meals, their apartments are comfortable and unremarkable, and they take vacations they actually enjoy instead of vacations they feel pressured to document. So here's where I want to land with you. The real cost of a normal life in 2026 is high, genuinely, objectively high, in ways that are not your fault and not a result of personal failure. Housing is broken, wages have not kept up. The system is designed to extract money in small, near-invisible increments. The social and psychological pressure to consume is relentless. You are not imagining it, and you are not alone in feeling it. But inside all of that is a quieter truth. A lot of what we're paying for is someone else's definition of normal. And the moment you start writing your own definition, based on what you actually value, what actually makes you feel at peace, what actually matters when you're honest with yourself at the end of the day, the math changes. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily, meaningfully, in a direction that feels like breathing again. You don't have to earn more to feel less behind. Sometimes you just have to stop running a race you never agreed to enter. That's worth sitting with.